The world is seeing a fundamental political realignment, with establishment parties fading and populist right parties gaining traction. We have seen this played out in countries like Italy, Hungary, the Netherlands, Argentina, El Salvador, and most recently with the re-election of Donald Trump. It seems to be also unfolding in the UK and Canada. It is happening nearly everywhere except Australia so far. The next country to watch is the world's largest economy, Germany, which is holding a federal election this weekend. Polling indicates the incumbent Social Democrats, their version of Labor, are on track to lose government, while the Christian Democrats, their version of Liberals, look likely to win. So far, this is just another story of the establishment parties, the duopoly, swapping places, but there is another story unfolding. In 2021, at the last federal election, establishment parties received over 76% of the vote. This year in Germany, they are on track to receive about 60%. A minor but surging party is likely to be the Alternative for Germany, or AfD, who are on track to come second with over 20%. Who are the AfD? Last year, the ABC's Paul Barry said, to suggest the AfD is not a far-right party is not just alarming, but preposterous. Sounds frightening. He was reporting on a Sky News segment where Joe Hildebrand said, quote, the AfD are a nasty bunch of really bad people. Co-host Liz Storer then asked Mr. Hildebrand, do you have a single illustration of what you're talking about? To which Mr. Hildebrand said, no, people can look into it if they want. Okay, let's take a look. Of course, when talking about the far right in Germany, the implication is the AfD are sympathetic to the Nazis. Is this accurate? The leader of the AfD is Dr. Alice Weidel, but the Nazis were acutely patriarchal, believing females should be homemakers, not politicians. The Nazis brutally persecuted same-sex attracted people, but Dr. Weidel is an out loud and proud lesbian. Her long-term partner is from Sri Lanka. The Nazis ended democracy, but the AfD wants to introduce Swiss-style plebiscites, and they want the Chancellor to be elected by a popular vote, which makes them more democratic than all other German parties and the major Australian parties. The AfD also advocate for a Swiss-style policy of non-interference in the affairs of other nations. Sounds so Nazi, doesn't it, Madam Acting President? Dr. Weidel had a successful career with banking giant Goldman Sachs, who neo-Nazis inaccurately claim is a Jewish bank. While at Goldman, she worked at China very happily for 6 years. The AfD wants peace and free trade with Russia. The real Nazis launched a war on Russia that killed 25 million. It is the other German parties who are captured by the defence contractors and hell-bent on permanent war with Russia. Dr. Weidel had been a member of the Libertarian Hayek Foundation for 20 years. Madam Acting President, there's no place on the political spectrum more diametrically opposed to libertarianism, which wants a very small government, and Nazi totalitarianism. So far, we've seen opposite views between the AfD and the Nazis on a whole range of things. So the only straw left to clutch is their immigration policy. I'd like to quote from the AfD platform. All Germans are part of our nation, regardless of their origin, ancestry, worldview or religious affiliation. The many well-integrated citizens with a migrant background in Germany who have seized the opportunities that our country offers are making an important contribution to our society. We expressly welcome them. The AfD do support closing the border to undocumented migrants, same as Australia. They support a repatriation of asylum seekers with criminal records, and I think that is called a no-brainer. Since World War II, Germany has been a very welcoming nation to new migrants. That's why so many want to live there, but generosity has its limits, and Germany does need a migration pause. The AfD wants to enforce the current laws around repatriation. Now, there's 250,000 foreigners living in Germany today with a visa that clearly said it was a temporary visa and that they agreed to return to Afghanistan and Syria when those wars had ended. Well, good news, the wars are over. The AfD simply wants to enforce the law. The AfD's immigration policy is quite similar to the centre-right Christian Democrats, but the AfD say they'll actually do it, not just talk about it. The left slur the AfD because they were early critics of COVID hysteria, but I suspect the left most slur the AfD because they are sceptical of the global warming orthodoxy, the highest god in the left's pantheon. German industrialisation has been the powerhouse of Europe, but today German industry is suffering from soaring energy prices, so some scepticism is surely justified. Dr. Weedle said her party is conservative-libertarian, and in light of this analysis, we can only conclude this is accurate. I want to pay tribute to Dr. Weedle, who has had to suffer these endless vile slurs from those who want to demonise her. Mr. President, I stand with Elon Musk. I endorse the AFD.